Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and today's video is brought to you by our own merch we just launched today, SomeOrdinaryGamers.store, ladies and gentlemen. You want to get yourself this nice hoodie? Woo, it's there. Want to get yourself a little coffee mug? It's there. Check it out, guys, SomeOrdinaryGamers.store. We had a few mentions for it, decided to throw it in. But that's not what this video is entirely about. You know, I always talk about system privacy, okay? I think it's really important. I think your privacy and your safety on the internet is probably one of the most important things ever. And if it feels like I've mellowed out over here, you probably noticed in like the last year, close to, in the last several months, I made a video about Opera GX, for instance, right? Where I looked into it, I wanted to see some of its claims, I wanted to test it, and I really wanted to give my take where, honestly, when it came to a web browser, which is something you use for most of your, computer experience, you're probably using one right now. If you're watching this video on your computer, then you want to make sure you pick one that respects your privacy, your safety, and the data you provide the browser when communicating with websites all over the internet, right? So obviously, one of the most popular browsers in the world is something known as Firefox. So you probably have seen Firefox at some point. You probably used it. I used to be somebody that was a user of Firefox, right? Now, if you go to Firefox's FAQ right now, you'll notice, is Firefox safe? Why is Firefox so slow? Does Firefox use Google? And of course, obviously, if I Control F here and just ask, does Firefox sell your personal data? Well, you'll probably see that it's not really an option there. In fact, if I just type in the word sell, there's actually no mention of it in the most updated FAQ. However, back in 2023, they used to say, does Firefox sell your personal data? Nope, never will, never have. And we protect you from many of the advertisers who do. Yeah, I guess the definition of never have, never will probably should be changed to never yet, maybe? I don't know, question mark? So, okay, look, there's been a lot of talk about Firefox's terms of services having some rather wild changes in it. And to give you an idea, this is the Mozilla Bedrock GitHub, and this is the entire code. Red is basically where things are removed, and obviously people are commenting on it and talking about how Firefox is basically removing a lot of the, stuff they said about selling user data. And of course, you see a bunch of comments. Unlike other companies, we don't sell access to your data. And it's gone. It's gone, being that literally that was removed from this commit right here. So of course, the further down you go into it, it's like, does Firefox sell your personal data? That page we just looked at, red meaning removed. Imagine making a promise and then just removing it. Like, honestly, yeah, imagine making a promise about being so privacy focused and then bending people over a barrel and telling them to take it. So, all right, going into the Firefox terms of services, right, or the terms of use rather, right? Firefox is a free and open source web browser built by a community for thousands of users all over the world, okay? So yeah, Firefox is a nonprofit, it's an open source project, it literally exists, again, as competition to some of the largest people in the game. So for instance, right over here, one of the things that people wanted to point out, quite specifically, was this line right here. So you give Mozilla all rights necessary to operate Firefox, including processing data as we describe in the Firefox privacy notice. Okay, so hold on. I give Mozilla rights to operate Firefox and processing data. What is processing data? So let me open up the Firefox privacy notice and see exactly what the processing data could be. So for instance, when looking at the data, it's to provide you with the Firefox browser. So Firefox collects certain data, like technical settings data, to provide the core functionality of Firefox's browser, and associated services. Distinguish your device from others. Remember and respect your settings, and provide you with default features like new tabs, PDF editings, password managers, and shit like that. So of course, to go down into it, we also look at things like the search functionality that is being improved. More importantly, we're looking at situations like AI chatbots, review checker, sponsored content, and yeah, it seems like that Firefox is kind of introducing a fair bit of AI level features, which is not surprising. I think a lot of browsers have AI features into it. I think Edge probably has Copilot baked into it at this point, haven't used it in a while. Brave, I know, is the browser that I use, and that also has a few AI features as well too. So for a lot of these services that are designed, obviously Firefox probably will need some license to grab your data, your processing data, send it over to these services if you choose to use them Hopefully. So going back to the terms of services, right, as well as acting on your behalf to help you navigate the internet, when you upload or input information through Firefox, such as you go up and put in an address into the or into your address bar or whatever, you hereby grant us a non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license to use that information to help you navigate, experience, and interact with online content as you indicate with your use of Firefox. So obviously when people are reading things like that, they wonder, okay, why are you grabbing it? Why do you need these royalty-free licenses? And look, if I had to be like the most charitable person here, I'm assuming with this legal speak, they're probably referring to maybe an AI-like feature or something, or some back-end service where in order to use it, you need to send them an actual piece of the information you're using. Like for instance, if you're searching through like an AI search tool that Firefox is providing, just bear with me, you send them permission to use what you just sent them to participate in their back-end feature so they can give you the result, right? And this is something that if you look up any AI tool, any social media really, you are ultimately providing some royalty-free worldwide licenses, right? And that is just me being as like charitable as possible into reading this, right? Obviously, my perspective is with vague wording like this with like vague legalese, even if it's not malicious now, there's no reason to not expect any form of maliciousness down the road, right? Which is why anytime I see this, already I wouldn't use Firefox, okay? I already wouldn't be jumping into it. But the reason I'm not using Firefox like this is also the reason that I don't use Google Chrome. I don't use plenty of browsers that are shady to me. And of course, Firefox did in fact respond to this and provided, hey, we've seen a little confusion about the language regarding licenses, so we want to clear it up. Yeah, there's going to be confusion, assholes, because you're writing it in like straight up legalese. It's going to be confusing. We are worried. People care about their privacy, and they should. They're not overreacting, but let's not even go down that road. They haven't said it. Anytime I read this, it always sounds like somebody's telling me I'm overreacting. Stop it. We need a license to allow us to make some of the basic functionality of Firefox possible, okay? Without it, we couldn't use information typed into Firefox, for example. It does not give us ownership of your data, a right to use it for anything other than what is described in the privacy notice. So literally what they have kind of said over here is Firefox will continue to add new features, improve existing ones, and test new ideas. We remain dedicated to making Firefox open source, but we believe that doing so along with an official TOS will give you more transparency over your rights and permissions as you use Firefox. We have always prioritized user privacy and will continue to do so. We use data to make Firefox functional and sustainable. Sustainable? What? What the fuck does the environment have to do with any of this shit? Improve your experience and keep you safe. Some optional Firefox features or services may require us to collect additional data to make them work. And when they do, your privacy remains our priority. So realistically, again, like I said earlier, it really seems like they're getting Firefox ready for like AI tools to jump in and a lot of AI backends, Firefox services, right? So let's say they introduce like a Firefox deep research tool, right? Where Firefox will use an AI to search the internet and give you like a summary of tools. It's kind of like how OpenAI, Grok, a lot of these AI models work, a lot of these AI tools. So you go to Firefox, you tell it, hey, here's an entry, right? Here's let's say, hey, look up Grand Theft Auto 6 Trailer 2 for me. Or look up Grand Theft Auto 6 analysis. So you feed it that string. It's going to take that string from you as a, license, as a, non-exclusive royalty-free license, whatever, and use that in their back-end service to do the search for you and spit out their slop back. So that's the most charitable way for me to look at it, right? But again, it all comes down to a lot of these services introducing, a lot of these browsers introducing, I would think, really needless services. And then because they introduce those needless services, they then require more data from the average user. And who knows where that data gets going to? Like I said, at the beginning of this video, I was showing you their actual page, their actual, Firefox page. And they were like, hey, they used to have a clause that said, we don't ever sell your data. That clause has since been removed. So all of these things coming together makes you wonder if this is as like simple and well-meaning, well-intentioned as they're presenting it over here. That's up to you, the end user, to make that decision for yourself. But based on everything that I've seen, I would not ever use Firefox again, okay? And you know what? That's not even that big of a deal because, to be honest, switching off Firefox is probably one of the easiest things you can do. Remember, this is a set of licenses that they've introduced into what is known as the Firefox like bedrock, Firefox's actual binary release, meaning that if you're downloading Firefox from the web browser, you basically sign up to this terms of services by using their binary version of the browser, the one you download from the page. But remember, Firefox is open source. This is Firefox source code. Anybody can take this source code and fork this source code and make their own browser out of this, which is exactly what's happened with other people in this game. So again, if you want to use a more privacy version of Firefox, a far more privacy version, there's Mullvad browser for Linux right here, ladies and gentlemen, completely free for anybody to use right now. You can download this, give it a try, far more private than Firefox could ever have. If you want to use Firefox, but more privacy focused, there's LibreWolf, which literally you can get the installation right here. It comes for Windows, Mac OS, and depending on which version of Linux you're on, like for instance, I'm on Arch Linux, click on Arch Linux, it will tell you, hey, here's how you install Arch. Do you have a OR helper? You can put this command into your terminal. If you don't, that's fine. Use this command right here, source version or the binary version. So you literally don't have to use Firefox if you feel uncomfortable because Firefox as a company is introducing things that you may not agree with. That's totally fine. That's totally okay. Switching off is no problem. If you want to go to Chromium browsers, you don't even have to use Google Chrome. There's ungoogled Chromium. You can go over to this GitHub repository right now. You can literally go to the downloads page and it will tell you how you can download this for Mac OS, Windows, various versions of Linux. All the actual instructions have basically been provided. So there is no real issue switching off browsers if you feel uncomfortable. Now there's a website known as privacytest.org, which will go through a further analysis of the privacy that certain browsers provide. So for instance, when it comes to state partitioning tests, Brave absolutely passes, as does Firefox. But since you don't feel comfortable with Firefox, let's say, go to LibreWolf. It passes the exact same state partitioning tests. It passes even more HTTPS tests than Firefox or Brave does. So yeah, realistically, if you're worried about, Firefox and them including features like AI or features that require them to take information from you and process them for whatever reason, then you don't have to use their service. You can just stay away. The way that Firefox has been treating themselves is honestly, to say the least, very concerning. Very, very concerning. And mind you, Firefox has had a leadership shakeup, and I believe they've actually had people introduced into their organization that are more AI friendly. So, all those AI features that you may be annoyed by, they may slowly be introducing themselves into one of these browsers. Now, to also give a little bit of, extra context, if you read the terms of services provided by, say, Google, for instance, Google also talks about having certain licenses, right? So this is not like an exclusive feature that exists entirely for Firefox. They're not the only people doing it. Google also does this. But remember, Google also is one of the most invasive privacy-busting groups on the internet. So just because you're similar to Google in this regard doesn't actually help your case. But to give you an idea, Firefox's new terms of services is not something that is not standard. In fact, there's a lot of legalese and there's a lot of broad legal work just to exist, literally so that they can introduce a lot of these features down the road and have them, gain access to some of your data to, again, give you access to these AI level features that I think will be implemented down the road. Or it could be any other feature tying to the Firefox backend. But yeah, Firefox would never trust it again, and I would never recommend it to anybody. But I've given you some actual options to switch off in this video. So if you are somebody that cares about your privacy, and you should, and remember, this is your web browsing experience. Switching a browser is not that hard, okay? It's literally you go to a different website, you download a different browser, you install it, you copy your settings over, and you're done. You never have to worry about it again. So honestly, if you're a Firefox user, my personal recommendation, if you love Firefox as an engine, go to LibreWolf. If you want to switch to Chromium, go to Brave. Go to ungoogled Chromium. But I would recommend, if you care about your privacy, and it's super easy to switch, even if you're a Firefox person, go to something like LibreWolf. It's easy. Go to Mullvad browser. Go to any other browser. But Firefox. The reason I don't use Firefox right now is literally the same reason that I don't use Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome. They're all run by these big companies. They're all run by people slowly festering in AI to their tools, in shitifying their actual applications, and basically taking away what is just simple web browsing at the end of the day. But yeah, that's just where my take is. I wanted to really make a video on it because, yeah, this is weird. It's not okay. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. I am out.